Hello and welcome to Emily Reviews. My name is Emily, and here on my channel, I talk about movies my daughter and I watch. I also vlog and play The Sims on my Inspiron 1520. It's a generational game where I started with two Sims, and they had kids, and they had kids, and they had kids, and so on and so forth. And it's been about 14 years since I started playing that game. I have also started a new series where I do chef react. I am a culinary school trained chef, and I am now doing chef reacts. I've been cooking for, oh my god, close to 17 years. So, if any of that interests you, please hit the like button. Wait until the end of the video and comment the emoji I request, and subscribe so you don't miss an upload. Normally I do old movies, like movies that had been on the shelf for like 10 years plus. So I haven't had to do any kind of spoiler alerts, or really haven't felt like it was necessary, because if you haven't seen a movie that's been over 10 years, then you got bigger problems. But I wanted to do a newer movie this time, and kind of now that my daughter and I are out of the Stone Ages and have the internet and are basically back in the world, I'm able to watch like newer movies. And we went to see Don't Worry Darling in the theaters, and I just watched it again last night on Project Free TV. Not sponsored, but seriously, check it. That everything's on there. Everything. Project Free TV. Amazing. So I watched it again yesterday, and I'm like, okay, I'm doing a movie review on this because I can't stop thinking about it. There's lots of little things that I never noticed, and I wanted to do a movie review. So just a heads up, this is a spoiler alert because I will be talking about the ending. At first glance, you think that this movie is going to be about a small little town in the desert set in the 60s, like a paradise. That's what it seems. As the movie starts to evolve, you really notice some red flags that I personally didn't notice the first time I watched it, but like sitting at home and watching it last night, I was like, wait a minute, what the heck? Oh my god! So like you really do notice some things that, like, the more you watch this movie, you are like, holy shit, holy shit, holy shit, holy shit, holy shit. There's definitely a lot of clues to make you think, oh, okay, this isn't the thing. On first viewing, it does have serious culty vibes. Like, oh my goodness, that's like the one thing I did notice watching it. And then the second time, I'm like, oh, yep, that's a culty vibe. Oh my goodness, that's a red flag. Like how they refer all of the women as wives. They refer to the women as wives, and how they are not allowed to leave the town or go into the desert. The very vague description of the Victory Project itself, and what the progressive materials really are. And when they were all at this party, the leader, Frank, the guy who is the CEO, who you like, he is made to believe he's the CEO. You kind of think, okay, well, he's the guy who in charge, right? He's the one who came up with this whole project, right? His wife is talking, and they're not looking at his wife. They're looking at him. Like, she's saying how happy they are, and how lucky they all are to be there, and the great things that we're doing even as wives. And like, they're not looking at her talking. They're looking at Frank, who is above, and he is watching them, and they're all like, oh, like, it's weird. really weird. The movie, more or less, is about a young couple, Alice and Jack, and their life in Victory. Everything seems pretty great and normal and happy until Alice starts to notice the inconsistencies. And the more the inconsistencies she starts to notice, and the lies that the men have been telling the wives. And I just, doesn't that give you Handmaid's vibes? Handmaid's Tale vibes? Like, oh my goodness, the wives. Like, it's like, holy crap. No words. Handmaid's Tale vibes. Cultiness. Cult. Like, and the more that the more time goes passes, Alice starts to put things together and realizes things, and then we start to see these really crazy flashes. And I didn't really get it at the beginning. I'm like, okay, is she like dreaming? Is she having hallucinations? Are these like into the future? Like, what are these flashes? They made no sense. They didn't. This movie keeps you guessing right up until the end. It's like, what the heck is going on? What, like, there's a part where Alice is like cracking eggs and there are no eggs. There's no yolk. There's no nothing. It's just empty eggs. And there's like crazy shaking where they have to like pick up all their glasses so they don't fall. It's like trimmers. It's like, oh my goodness, what the heck? And people are just like, tra la 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 la. Like I said, this is one of those movies that keep you guessing right until the end. And when it's revealed that Alice isn't actually living in the 60s and she isn't living in a desert town called Victory, and that she is actually from the present day, and she is strapped down in a bed living in a simulation against her will. Her mind and her memories have been altered, so she doesn't remember who she was, that she's a surgeon. She doesn't remember how unhappy they supposedly were. And like, I didn't notice this until the second time I watched this, where there's a part in the movie where you see feet being dragged and like a cup dropping and smashing and then feet being dragged, and it's Alice, and she was drugged, being put into the bed by her husband who supposedly loved her. Okay there, buddy, I'm sure you did. And that's when you finally see who Jack really is, and that he is not a handsome, well-groomed man having a good job. He is a greasy, ungroomed, long, scraggly, dirty hair with a patchy beard, all gross, sitting in front of the computer like a motherfucking incel. He's an incel. He's like an incel. You see him patting Alice's hair, moistening her lips with water, putting Visine in her eyes because she's like strapped to this thing that's in her simulation mind, right? And he's having her against her will. And it's like, you hear the questionnaire about, like, you know, who you are, who she is, if they had a pre-existing relationship. And I'm really just kind of figuring this part out now. Like, that some people in that community, those women, they didn't have a pre-existing relationship with their husbands. They basically were chosen, drugged, and forced into this world with their minds and memories altered by a bunch of fucking incels. All of those men are keeping those women hostage. And it says there's like something like over 70 different families in that little town. Over 70. So that means 70 different men took 70 different wives as their fucking hostages. Like, what the fuck? Well, actually, you know what? No, I'm lying to you. There's one exception. There's one person, one man in that whole thing who told her wife what was up, and she made the choice to be there, and that was Bunny. And Bunny was played by Olivia Wilde, who was the director, and like, so that whole thing, I have a theory. I have a theory, and we're gonna get to that. Like, I have a theory about Bunny. There's a part in this movie where Alice is like finally realizing what happened. She's put everything together. She now realizes that she is not of this world. She is from the present day time, and she is trying to escape. And she and Alice kind of have like a, not she and Alice, sorry, she and Bunny have a like a whatever, right? And Bunny says that she knew the whole time that this is a simulation, and she chose to be here, and that her kids are here. And then Alice goes, but your kids aren't real. Yeah, because like that's another thing. Like the women are hostage, but the kids that they have in the thing are not real kids. They're just in their mind. So the kids that they have, like if they have a bunch of kids, like there's this one woman who she's continually pregnant, but she's always fucking drunk. And it's like, okay, well, you know what? You can be drunk because those kids aren't gonna fucking, they're not real. So they're not gonna grow up with actual fucking issues. But Bunny says, my kids are here. I didn't lose them here. So what I think is that Bunny in the real world, she and her husband, they had a family, they had like 2 kids, and something must have happened, like they died. And Bunny was inconsolable, naturally. And so her husband says to her, I know of this place where we can go and you can have your kids back. And as a mother, if I lost my child and my spouse came to me and said, I know of this place where you can go, where you can have your child, I would go so fucking fast, it's not even funny. I would choose to live in that life to have my child back. 100%. And that's what I think happened with Bunny. She chose to be there because she didn't lose her kids in that life. Her kids are dead in the real world, but not in the simulation. And that is why Bunny knows, right? And where she can be happy. She didn't lose them. I have to change this because it says Bonnie and my mother is Bonnie and my mother is a cunt. And I honestly think that would be make a really good backstory movie, kind of like what happened to Bunny, why, how they came to that. I would like that. Olivia Wilde, look into that. Legit, girl. Do it up. But really, honestly, this movie, it's a nightmare. It's every incel's wet dream, but it's every other normal human being's nightmare. It's a fucking nightmare. It's like Handmaid's Tale. It's what could happen if incels ruled the world. But I do have to say that this movie held up to my expectations. It's been a long time to watch a movie, to watch a preview of a movie, and it not tell you the entire movie in the preview. And it's been a long time where that preview didn't even tell you what that movie was about. So my daughter and I went to this movie not having any idea what this movie's about because they did it so freaking well. So freaking well. I don't even know what else to say. I think I'm just gonna say goodbye for now. Yeah, check out that movie. You can see how it's a fucking incel's wet dream. And yeah, it's awesome and I enjoyed it. I really did. Like it was good. It was a terrifying but good movie. I didn't even normally I pre-choose my emoji and I even write it down in my script so I like don't forget, but I didn't even pre-choose an emoji. How about a martini glass? Because every single one, every single scene, every single bit of that movie, they were drinking. A lot of them were drunk all of the time. So why not a martini glass emoji for today? And I'd like to thank you for hanging out with me. And yeah, watch this movie. Like legit. watch it. Yep. Project Free TV. It's on Project Free TV now. You don't even have to go to the theaters. Okay. Bye.